already know it's the boy PNB, man. Shout out to HoodLife.
By my Bermuda, yay, man. Yo.
Man, you already know it's the boy PNB, man. Shout out to HoodLife leader, man. You already know how he carry it from the bottom to the tip. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you already know, man. We tuned in. We live in Vegas right now for the first time. Saying tapped into one of the local upcoming artists and things like that. I got referred to you. So go ahead, introduce yourself to the people who ain't familiar with you.
What's happening? It's your boy Dula-Mite of Las Vegas, East Las Vegas, represent.
That's Vegas, man. Sin City, as they say.
Yes, sir.
What's it like just coming up in Vegas? As far as you, I say, what was your young boy days like? Your childhood?
It ain't what people think. Like when people, it's crazy. I think when me and you was talking on the phone, people don't realize the world is a ghetto. So, when people see Vegas in movies, they see the strip and they see
Lights.
all the glam and the lights and all that stuff. But I don't think they really pay attention to like the gangster movies. Because if you look at like a lot of the mob movies, the city was made by the mob. So the government was being ran by the mob. And then you add on top of gang banging because a lot of people from California moved to Vegas. So gang culture. You add the casinos. So we talk about our parents worked at the casinos. So if you add on top of that, what's at the casinos?
Right.
Gambling, prostitution, pimping. They don't think about none of that. They just see
the lights
and all that stuff. So as a kid, when you living here, you gotta remember too, everything, you gotta be 21.
Right.
So when you're 21, you have a choice. Either you're gonna get in trouble or you're not gonna get in trouble. So it was a tough balance as a kid because like with me, I grew up in an abusive household. So when I was in the streets, I grew up on 28th Street, which is on the east side out here. 28th Street was a mixture. It was like, I think it was the most multicultural neighborhood.
Okay.
Well, the east side is more multicultural than all of the other sides.
So talk about that before we go into it, as far as break down like the different sides of the different sides of Las Vegas.
Okay, so when you break down the sides of Las Vegas, we'll start in Northtown. No. We'll start at the west side. The west side is the traditional 95% African American side. So a lot of black history is taught over there. A lot of black-owned businesses were over there. My mom grew up on the west side. Gang culture was over there. You name it, like stepping, like sororities and fraternities, like high school sorority. Everything that was culture,
right,
black culture,
came
from the west side. Northtown is an extension of the west side too. Lot of gang culture over there too, but it's more African American gang cultures. But I think when I break down Northtown was probably the first side that started getting gentrified.
Okay.
But
it's a lot of that back home.
Yeah, but you know what sections are gentrified and you know what sections aren't. But Northtown was probably the first side where that started, but tons of gang culture over there. I would say if you think of Northtown, you do think of gang culture. Right, so the west side was a mixture of everything. Northtown, when you think of Northtown, is gang culture, gentrification.
You saying Northtown?
Yeah, North Las Vegas.
Okay, Northtown, that's different. I ain't hear that one yet.
Yeah, so the west side, and then we got Northtown, which is North Las Vegas, and then you got the east side. And I grew up on what's called the 8th side, 28th Street. So the 8th side, if I break down 28th Street, the 8th side for you, it was, here's the neighborhood. Right next to the neighborhood, it's a golf course now.
Okay.
But before the golf course came, it was like a whole forest area that was called Tent City. It was just full of homeless people, motherfuckers getting raped over there, all type of shit. Then right next to Tent City was the city jail.
Okay, yeah.
Now on the other side of Tent City was Juvenile Hall. Right next to that was a park called Freedom Park, and right next to the park was the police station.
So they got that shit set
up. You see
up.
what we surrounded by.
Motherfucker come out of jail, man, I ain't got nowhere to go anyway. Lay right down, go right back. You ain't got to go nowhere.
And see, everybody out here talks about the west side and Northtown and all that type of stuff. But if you look at facts, real facts, 28th Street and the east side area was actually for years in the top 10 most violent park neighborhoods and stuff. Like it's documented, they can Google it. That's what I grew up in. So I'm in an abusive home. and then I got that when I go outside.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, shit, why the fuck I'm gonna join the gang? It's already ain't safe at home, so I'm gonna make it more not safe going into the streets.
Fact.
So I was one of the kids that was like, nah, I ain't doing none of that shit.
That's funny that you say that, and because a lot of young kids, they will, especially when you dealing with things at home, they will like run towards that, like more looking for that, acceptance and things that they not getting at home.
Yeah, for me, it was so bad for me in my eyes. It was, everybody got their own lens for their life. For me, it was so bad at home, I didn't want to join that shit. Don't get me wrong. Temptations like a motherfucker. Of course, you the gangster, you get the bitch. But I was like, most of the niggas that was getting bitches too was getting locked up and milking it around a whole bunch of
Can't
boy
even
pussy.
enjoy it. Like,
yeah,
you
I
can't
ain't want no boy pussy.
no, yeah, they being bad.
Yeah, so I ain't want to be around that a whole bunch of niggas all the time. You gotta watch your back and all that type of. So it's stressful. Being a gangster is stressful. People don't realize that shit. It's stressful as fuck. That wasn't it for me. So it was basketball at first, and then
that was my next question. When did music come into play for you?
Music came into play for me when I was 10 years old. So I was in talent shows, dancing, doing all type of shit with my older brother. My older brother was probably my first. He was my first favorite rapper. That nigga was trash. That nigga was trash, but my dad was super strict. I don't even want to say he was strict. He was so strict and abusive. We would get grounded just for not dumping the trash and get our ass whooped for that shit.
Shit, tweaking.
So we was always together.
He was one of them. You could never come outside. You always on punishment.
Couldn't do shit. So with that nigga, he was influenced by Brother Lynch. You know what that is, right?
Mm-mm.
West Coast rapper. Brother Lynch hung. It's a few West Coast niggas that, let me see. Brother Lynch hung. Spice One.
Okay, no, we gonna get into it. 'Cause that's one of my questions later on in the segment. Like those, because I be talking to a lot of artists. Not to get too much off a track, but I be talking to artists and be like, yo, geographics plays so much of an importance as far as, because it's somebody right now who you never heard of, but they popping, they making money off of their career, and they popping it, but you just never heard of them. Just
Vegas will surprise you when it comes to that, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because Vegas, we such of a melting pot. They can never, what they do to California niggas, they can never do to us. So what California niggas listen to is different out here. You get such a mixture of what motherfuckers listen. So my brother, he loved them niggas. I didn't love them. I thought them niggas, I ain't gonna say they was trash. They music wasn't for me.
Right.
Brother, Bone Thugs and Harmony, when they was popping, you know how niggas was trying to rap. It's like on the East Coast when Daz Effects was popping, Jay-Z was like, jigga da.
Yeah.
So you get influenced about what you're around. So we'll say that Spice One, Brother Lynch was kind of like the Daz Effects of what the West Coast had.
Okay.
Niggas was trying to rap like them. My brother did that shit and it was trash. And when I saw he was trash because he lost a battle, what made me want to do the music was the nigga that beat my brother, the attention he got. And when I saw the attention he got, I was like, fuck, I'm dancing for it, because we was always dancing and doing all that shit. I said, fuck dancing don't get you no bitches.
I want to piggyback off of that, and I like how you was really just trying to figure yourself out, and you didn't just go with the crowd. And I want hopefully a lot of young boys that's watching, they can pay attention and piggyback, because at the same time, it's like we all looking for acceptance. We all looking for our path. So, like you said, we all got shit going on at home. You doing the basketball, doing the dancing, but then when you seen that and the reaction, you like, that's like, you know what I'm saying?
That was it for me. And it was that and film, because I went to school for film. So, like, I always wanted to be in the entertainment field. Of course, you know, they call you the L7 and all that shit in the neighborhood. That nigga. That nigga don't smoke.
Yeah.
And, you know, they don't know what you got going on.
Yeah.
So, with me, I never gave a about that type of shit. I knew I wasn't no nigga. I may have lost some fights, but I won some fights too.
No, facts,
and motherfuckers gonna respect you when you're not a bitch.
No, listen, that's bottom line. Like, once you, it don't matter what you, when you able to stand up and defend yourself as a man, just period, especially in young boy days, it's just a certain level of like, all right, no, cuz cool, leave him, you know what I'm saying? Just leave him be.
And my brother looked like Urkel. He had the thick glasses. He looked exactly like Jaleel White. And Jaleel White don't understand. Creating that Urkel character was rough on kids that wore glasses. So being the younger brother of that nigga, that shit was hard. It wasn't like I had, and my brother, I love him, but I didn't have the older brother that like, man, you better leave me alone, I'm gonna get my brother.
They like, so?
Nigga, go get Urkel. So they called him Urkel so much, my brother was like going by Urkel for a minute to like get niggas off of him. Because, you know, shit, he going to a school, you gotta think, my brother's way older than me, so we talk about the 90s.
It was different back then, too.
It was different back then when he would go to school and he was that kid. Motherfuckers would chase you home, and you got 8 niggas chasing you home. You look stupid trying to fight all 8 of them niggas. So I didn't have that. But as far as music, it was 10 years old that I wanted to do music, and I was influenced by all hip hop, but I'm gonna be honest, East Coast hip hop is what really stuck with me. Like, you know, of course we had Dre and Snoop and all them. That was gang culture shit though.
Yeah.
Like with Dr. Dre, I was influenced by him because of the sampling.
Okay.
As far as like rap style, it was seeing this shit on the East. Okay. It was the Hoes, it was the Nas.
Yeah.
Busta
No, it's fact, because LA, like, it's two different, like, y'all gangsta shit is like riding in the low rider, like drive-bys is a LA thing. Like, that's, that, you know what I'm saying? That shit is.
But even if you add on the Bay Area, right?
Right.
If I had to say California, which part of California influenced me the most, it would be Northern California.
Okay.
Because Northern California made more sense to me.
Why is that? You know, it's crazy because to somebody from back east, and I know it's not, but everything West Coast is like LA. Like, no bullshit.
But people don't realize, like Too Short. Too Short's from Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
Too Short was talking about bitches. Sugar Free was talking about bitches. E40 was just different.
Right.
Dr. Dre was have fun. A lot of people in Atlanta are influenced by E40.
I ain't even think of that, bro. Real right.
Like, so, like, even, like, some of the old school niggas from Northern California that we used to listen to. So, like, the Northern California definitely influenced the South.
Fact. So, I want to talk about some Vegas legends when it comes to, like, the music. Listen, I want to talk about that now. One thing I want to speak about, we'll talk about Islam and how it, like, affected your life and things like that. When was you first introduced to Islam, or was you born Muslim?
I'm the only one that in my family that was born Muslim.
Okay.
Like my parents, they were Christians. My brother, when he was born, Christian. And then when my mom and pops was pregnant with me, that's when they started converting them. Now, let's make it clear, because on the West Coast, see, back east, when you say you're Muslim, you don't have to say what type you are.
Okay, yeah.
On the West Coast, especially in Vegas, we were the only Muslim family in the whole neighborhood. So on the West Coast, when you say you're Muslim, immediately Bean Pie, Nation of Islam, oh, y'all don't like white people, blah, 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 and we're Sunnis.
Right.
So as a kid, being the only Muslim in the neighborhood, I went through it because people didn't understand the shit. Now, crazy thing is a lot of cats that used to talk shit, they're Muslims now. Either they went to prison or, you know, they start actually learning about the shit. People that used to, and still to this day, people that talk, I'm like, your favorite celebrity is a Muslim. Dr. Oz is a Muslim. Who would have thought Dr. Oz? Shaq, Nas, Khalil Kweli. Like, we can keep going. We can keep going.
Once you start getting that money and then you start getting closer to the truth, and you like, oh, but it's like, then you still gotta.
And a lot of these motherfuckers will say reckless shit about Islam, and I'm like, do y'all realize, like, a lot of powerful people are Gilly Wallow? Like, we can keep going. Muslims is beings. Everybody Muslim.
It's
shit.
growing. It's the fastest growing religion right now. But you know, it's all written.
But growing up as the only one in the family that was into it, it wasn't easy. Like my brother, you know, he got to celebrate Christmas and all that type of shit. So for him, it was always a tough transition. So my brother wasn't really. He's like, my parents made me.
Yeah.
Me, I looked it up. So once I became a teenager, I didn't want to be like how some kids are, oh, I'm this because my parents said.
Right, you start doing your own.
I started doing my homework, and it made sense. It was like people, who is Allah? I'm like, it's a different language for God, nigga. You know, no different from saying Jehovah. Either way, it means God.
Right.
So, once I started looking into it, really, if people think about Islam or any religion, the argument's about who's a prophet and who's not. But the most important thing with Islam is God.
Right.
That's it. There is no thank you Jesus and thank you God. It doesn't confuse it in that. It's thank you God, thank you Allah. It's the same thing. It's just, so for me that made sense.
Right.
But at the end of the day, whatever religion you are, as long as you believe in God first and you thank God first, I'm good.
No, that's a fact though. I be trying, you know, I don't really like to get into the religious politics and all that debates. History, but I tell everybody, history, religion, and politics, they all connect.
Free Palestine too, man.
You know what I'm saying? It go deep as far as like the history and the understanding why that in the past is happening, because now it's all that.
Because we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know if Jesus really woke up, nigga. People don't know the history of the cross. They don't know that the cross was made by the person that killed Jesus. See what I'm saying? We know that Jesus wasn't white.
Yeah.
The Middle East and Africa is not white. How the fuck the kings of Egypt were white?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was some white people there, but they was mainly European.
And they say it in the text though, brown, wool.
Right. I ain't never seen no white person with wool hair. That sound like nigga hair. So, I mean, if it was the Middle East and Africa, we would know that most of them were dark skinned. But, you know, what do we know?